Round 11 of the AFL has come and gone, and we have a lot to discuss. There has been some tremendous performances for some of these teams here, and some surprising victories, some surprising results in general. So overall, round 11 has been a good one, and let's discuss the results right now. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be an AFL Round 11 results and reaction video where we go through all of the teams that have played in the Round 11 of the AFL, and we give the results of the games. Also give my predictions, a right or a wrong. So if you guys haven't checked out the predictions video, I highly suggest you check that out before you check this video out, just so you know that there is no lies or anything that I have said that is untrue. There's just going to be none of that in this video. So before we get started as well, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below, where does your team sit on the ladder towards the end of this round, and how are you going to feel towards tomorrow as soon as the next round begins. It's going to be very, very interesting. So let's get started into the first game of this episode, and it was between Port Adelaide and Richmond. Now, I predicted Port Adelaide to win this game, and Port Adelaide did win this game 13-13. 13 goals and 15 behind, to 93 to Richmond's 72 with 11 goals 6. Now, this was a very good day. Very good day for me, very good game. I predicted Port to win, so I'm very, very happy about that. But not only that, this was a very exciting game, and for the most part, it was relatively close until the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter took Richmond out of the game completely. Now, last time I checked, when I was watching this game in between doing other things. So when I checked the game at the end of the third quarter, at the start of the fourth quarter, Port were only up by one, I believe. I believe it was 73-72. And the sad thing is that Richmond did not score a single point in that fourth quarter, I believe. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I can very well be wrong. Maybe I got the quarters mixed up, or maybe even got the score mixed up. But that is what I saw, and that is not good enough. Look, Port's a quality side, and a lot of people are expecting Port to win next week as well. Again, I will have something to say about that. But nevertheless, Port is a quality side, and they are the real deal. Richmond put up a great fight. And honestly, if this was the finals, everybody would be making an absolute praise of Port Adelaide. I think in the end, Richmond just didn't show up in the fourth quarter. This game was really, really close, and I think it was very exciting. Probably the best game to watch in this round. So that's a good way to kick things off. And I'm happy I got the right choice, of course. But I feel like Richmond need to perform better next week, and I think they will. I think Port might even struggle next week. So in the end, it was a good game. Two great teams, two teams that could possibly make it to the grand final if things go their way. So let's see, man. Let's see what happens. Only time's going to tell how good these two teams will be. They're both looking like they're going to make the finals, possibly even top 4. So you never know. They might even have a game at the very start. It's going to be very interesting. Next up, Brisbane versus the Western Bulldogs. This one was tough. Now, the scoreline is actually relatively the same. Brisbane, I predicted to win, and Brisbane won 96-72. Now, one of Brisbane's best players actually got injured in this game, and I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but that is really, really, really bad towards to the end of the season. Hopefully, it's not too bad. I haven't really checked up or heard any news about how bad the injury is. It is with his knee. I just don't know, to be honest. But honestly, this game, it was good as well, but I feel like Bulldogs were not always in it. Again, very, very clinical 11 goals 6 for Bulldogs, but 14-12. Brisbane had more opportunities. Brisbane was just a step above, and that's the way that I saw this game. Brisbane were just a step above. It wasn't a big step by any stretch of the means. I mean, this game is a very decent scoreline for both teams, really. So Bulldogs are just buying. They need a win. They need to win, and I think next week they'll get their win. This is just one of those things you expected Bulldogs to lose this game. They had two very difficult games in actually 3. They lost 3 games in a row. So they're going to have to get their win somewhere, and maybe next week will be their week. But obviously, you expect them to lose to Port and to Brisbane. There's nothing new about that going on here. We'll see how they perform next week, and that will ultimately define if they're really out of form or if they're just first quality sides and they just couldn't end up getting the victory. Same thing happened with Melbourne, to be fair. Next game, West Coast versus Carlton. Now, I predicted West Coast to win this game, and West Coast did win fairly comfortably, 72-50. But that's not the game that I saw. That's really not. Now, if you looked at the scoreline, you'd think, okay, look, it was a decent scoreline. I mean, West Coast, they looked like they were the better team. That's what I would be saying if I didn't watch the game. I watched this game, and what I saw was Carlton really giving it to them for at least 2.5 quarters. And West Coast took it up a notch and sealed things off in the second half pretty much. This game was very, very, very close, and it was really, really entertaining. And I'm extremely impressed with Carlton. I have been for a long time, but it seems like every week they seem to impress me just a little bit more. Now, obviously, the loss against Hawthorn was not great, but again, as a young team, you always expect a performance like that to happen here and there with a young side like Carlton. But more or less, they have really, really, really impressed me. I've been very, very happy with what I've seen from Carlton over the past few weeks, and it makes me happy, man. It does make me happy, because Carlton has been one of those teams that has been down in the dumps, probably same with Melbourne for a long, long time, and they're finally becoming a team that people can be proud of. I think the last time they were in the 8 was in 2013, so it's been 7 years. Oh, wow. It doesn't even feel that long, at least for me, but it doesn't feel like 7 years for Carlton, but it has been. It's been a long time. So it feels good for them to get victories and to slowly make their way up into the ranks. If they make the 8 or not this year, who knows? But next year, they could get even better than this year. Only time's going to tell. But speaking about West Coast, they continue to win, don't they? They continue to win. Look, this was definitely not an easy game for them. Again, not every game is going to be a thrashing. Just because you beat Collingwood by a thrashing doesn't mean you're going to beat the next team by a thrashing. At the end of the day, yes, Carlton's not a better side than Collingwood, but Carlton brought more of a fight, and I think that's in the end is how this game was relatively close. We're going to move on from that one, but I really feel very, very happy for both teams in this. It was a good game to watch. Again, it always makes me smile to see a good game. Next game, Melbourne versus the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Alrighty, so I predicted Melbourne to win this game, and I've been undefeated so far. Melbourne did win this game, 92-35. Now, I thought Adelaide were the worst team out of North Melbourne and Adelaide, but versing them both in consecutive weeks, really, North Melbourne were not great. Not great at all. I think the first quarter was their best, but besides that, they really didn't do much. I thought they'd be a lot better. Now, obviously, not having Ben Brown is a big problem for them, a big issue. I believe one of their other players scored 4 out of their 5 goals. So it's a one-man team, basically, scoring 4 out of 5 goals, having 5 behinds. Melbourne were dominant. And again, it doesn't really show into the fourth quarter. Melbourne's fourth quarters have been absolutely sensational. So in the fourth quarter, we really took things to another level and we got rid of them in the end. So by the third quarter, we were up, and it was fairly convincing that we were gonna win. But the fourth quarter from then was just an absolute massacre, and we beat them by even more than we beat Adelaide. In the end, I thought Adelaide were the better team when we versed them. To be fair, that's what I thought. So maybe I should start giving Adelaide a little bit more respect. According to the results that they had this week, they did fairly well as well, even in the loss. But Melbourne, we'll talk about that. They got a big game against Collingwood next week. Rivalry game for both teams. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of form they'll bring into that game. Versing a team like Collingwood will really defy Melbourne's season, to be honest. If it's a season worth being happy about, or if it's another season of disappointment. We're going to have to wait and see. That is going to be a very big game for both parties involved in that game. Next up, the first loss for me of the episode, St Kilda versus Geelong. Now, I predicted the Saints to win in a very, very tough game. I was very indecisive about this game, but I still picked St Kilda, and they lost fairly comfortably, 93-34. That's a big win for Geelong. That's a very, very big win for Geelong. And again, I think they were probably not the favourites, but they showed that their form is not just form, it's quality. They have the quality in their team. Beating St Kilda, who was second on the ladder at this time, in the fashion that they beat them, is only a statement to the AFL. I believe I read an article that's saying that Geelong shows that they're contenders by beating Saints and giving them a reality check. I wouldn't go that far to say that the Saints got a reality check or that Geelong are contenders, but what I will say is they've delivered a very strong message in this game single-handedly, and they deserve a lot of praise for that game. I think they should be very, very proud of the accomplishments that they've given. To be honest, they should be very proud of that game, and I do see them having a good game against Port as well. I don't see why not. If you're beating St Kilda, why can't you beat Port? That's the mindset that I have. Obviously, they're in form. Maybe the experience will get to them, and they're not really youthful, so maybe deep down the line, all those games in consecutive days will hurt them. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But they've done tremendously well here to beat a team like St Kilda. And that's the first loss for me. We're going into the very second loss for me. Fremantle versus Hawthorn. I predicted the Hawks to win in a very tough game. And again, if only I picked Fremantle. Now, when I saw the commentators and the analysts talk about this game, they really hyped up Fremantle to win. And I was confused why, because, you know, Hawthorn looked like the better team. They have the experience. But when they explained it, it almost looked like, why didn't I pick Fremantle? So they basically said experience versus youth. They don't have the legs. Fremantle play really fast. So if they don't have the legs to compete with any young midfield, a young midfield that's pacey, a young forward line that's pacey, a very, very fast team overall, plus a team that has already won against a team like Collingwood, yeah, maybe I should have picked Fremantle, but I'm going to take that loss. Fremantle performed very, very well. They could end up having another good game. I believe they have Carlton next week. Look, only time's going to tell if they can keep this in consecutive wins. They've won 2 in a row now, I believe. So let's see where that goes. That's all I could say. Fremantle are one of those teams that people don't really rate, just because of the quality, not necessarily the players. I think a lot of their players have upside, but the quality at this time is not there for Fremantle, and that's why they lose a lot of the games that they do. But in the end, they've beaten Hawthorn. Hawthorn are not a great team. It's by form. But if you're looking at about players, Hawthorn are one of the better teams. So in the end, we're gonna wait for Fremantle. Just like a lot of teams that are not gonna make the 8, they're gonna wait and be patient. Be patient with Fremantle, and I think down the line they will repay that patience. Maybe even make a grand final one day. I don't think they've won one yet. Have they? I'm not sure. I'm gonna edit that out if they have. I'm just letting you know that. Next up, we've got Adelaide versus Collingwood. Now, I predicted Collingwood to win this game, and Collingwood won this game. We're back on the winning ways. With this game, I don't think Collingwood were particularly fantastic, but their score, 10-2, 10 goals, 2 behinds, was pretty good. Very clinical. But I don't think they were the best of teams here. I definitely think they could have done a lot better. Adelaide, they fought Adelaide. They really did. And the scoreline is respectable for them. It's not a terrible loss by any stretch of the means. But they just need that. I don't think they're not a great attacking team, Adelaide. I feel like that's their big issue. I think their defense on their day is a decent defense. Their midfield is 50-50, but the forward line is never good enough. You have Tex Walker in there. You expect Tex Walker to do good, but it's just not been that way. Look, I'm not going to go and rant about Adelaide. We all know that Adelaide are not a great side. We all know Collingwood were expected to win, but Collingwood were, in my opinion, not great in this game. But regardless of that, a win is a win. They are a good team if they can win while they're not performing at their greatest. In the end, it's a good scoreline for them too, don't get me wrong. Collingwood 62-38 is a very good scoreline. But I don't know. I just feel like there is something in that Collingwood side that's really disrupting them and not letting them perform at their best. And I want to know what it is. I don't know if it's all the drama around them. Maybe there's something going on behind the scenes. Maybe it's the racist remarks towards their players, which again, I mentioned in my match predictions video that will come out pretty much the same time. But that's unacceptable. It is unacceptable, but that's something the Collingwood should not be dealing with at the moment, and they just are. It's very, very sad. But we're going to have to move on from that one fairly quickly as well. Collingwood deserved that victory. last but not least, it was Essendon versus Gold Coast. Now, this game just finished and it was a draw. It was a draw. Oh my goodness, that does count as a loss for me. There was only one other draw this round that did happen, and I counted it as a loss for me then. In the end, I can predict draws. I can say this is going to be a draw, and I didn't. So therefore, it's going to count as a loss regardless of what people might think. Maybe some people don't like that. I am counting as a loss for me. It's not a deserved victory. Doesn't deserve a score. I don't care. That's a loss for me. So anyway, that game was good, you know, and fair play because Gold Coast were up by 3 goals in the fourth quarter, and all looked like things were going to dwindle down into a fairly simple victory for Gold Coast. But within 5 minutes, Essendon scored 3 goals and made this a contest. Gold Coast then came back and scored a goal, and it was end-to-end stuff. It was good stuff. Essendon were probably the better team in the fourth quarter. Gold Coast had the chance to win it though, with one shot from 50 meters, and he didn't even get a point, and that's all they needed. And the siren sounds on the teams and they walk away, both teams having a draw. I think this is probably, as a Melbourne fan, that's probably the best news you could ask for, really, having both teams get a draw. No win, no loss. But in the end, that's a great performance from both teams. It was Gold Coast were up the whole game, so they should feel pretty bad to let that one slip. But in the end, Essendon is not an easy team to beat. So in the end, I think a draw is probably fair. It was a good game, man. I really enjoyed that game. It was end to end, man. It was end to end. Now we'll go to the winners and the losers of the week. Now, this is actually could be the first time I could give the winners and the losers of the week that actually verse each other. So the winners of the week are going to be Geelong, and the losers of the week, well, obviously it will be St Kilda. But let me give you the reason why I think Geelong are the winners of the week. No one expected Geelong to win, and not only did they win, they won by well and beyond what happened, well and beyond what people expected. So, in my opinion, Geelong were far and away the better team. They don't have the better team overall, but on the night, they were the better team, and that's why they get the winners of the round for me. They were fantastic, and they did it against a side that is very good quality. St Kilda, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. They have the better team, but they didn't perform on the night, and that's the reason. They have worse quality. They were worse quality on the night, and now they have to sit and recuperate, and they will. St Kilda will. Look, this game could either be, I think I mentioned it before, this game is either going to be the downfall of St Kilda, or it's going to be just an off night. I don't know, but I have faith in the Saints. Obviously, I picked them, so I have faith in the Saints. So they deserve the losers of the round. I'm not going to say it. Like, I know Adelaide could probably get it. North Melbourne could probably get it. I could have even given the winners to Melbourne. I'm not a biased person. I know the meaning behind the Cats win tonight and the meaning behind the Saints loss. These two teams versed each other, so the winners and the losers, that is, it's pretty obvious for this round at least. So we're going to see what happens in the next coming week with both teams. There's no buys next round, so all teams will be playing, and we're going to go see what exactly is going to happen. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on. I'll see you guys in the round 12 match predictions video. Stay tuned for that one. It's going to be good. Have a wonderful day. Take care and peace.